The symbol of the HapkiDo. The emblem on the cover, which is symbol of the World HapkiDo Federation, is well remembered and has been proudly worn by HapkiDo practitioners since the beginning of the modern HapkiDo period. From August 1967 until recently, the eagle has been used as a symbol of HapkiDo. The members of the World HapkiDo Federation, however, have now adopted the traditional and original HapkiDo emblem as the official symbol of HapkiDo. This symbol, although modernized somewhat in design, still embodies the theory, true principles, and philosophy of HapkiDo, based on ancient and traditional Oriental teachings. The outer circle signifies the universe in its general sense and man in its specific sense. The circle has been adopted from the Oriental philosophy that a large circle represents a globe and a small circle represents a man or mind. The globe represents the constant growth and development of HapkiDo and the World HapkiDo Federation. The arrowhead-shaped symbols, which cannot be found in any other martial art emblem, face diagonally from opposite side to signify the hand position and technique frequently applied in HapkiDo. This shape is derived from the hand position established when both open hands are lifted vertically and the thumbs and index fingers are extended, forming a V design. Philosophically, these two arrowhead shapes symbolizes the opposing principles of positive and negative, the yin and yang. Under the philosophy of HapkiDo, there is no opponent who cannot be overcome by the technique of HapkiDo, regardless of size or strength. When utilizing these principles, these arrowhead symbols can also be interpreted as ki, or as offense and defense in HapkiDo. Thus, the emblem radiates all the meanings and tradition of HapkiDo, with its principles and truths. We hope this will be a welcome representative symbol of the spirit of HapkiDo. History of the World HapkiDo Federation. The World HapkiDo Association had been established on December 20, 1973 by high-ranking HapkiDo masters from various cities. Prior to the formation of the World HapkiDo Federation, there was no organization or person to unify the HapkiDo masters or schools in the United States or other countries. There were only a limited number of small associations with few members. Shortly after the establishment of the World HapkiDo Association, with widespread support and encouragement of the HapkiDo community, the first general meeting was held in Detroit, Michigan on June 23, 1974. That city became the headquarters of the association and the focal point for the HapkiDo community. At the first general meeting, Grandmaster Shik was elected president. Grandmaster Shik, the president, had authored and published Korean HapkiDo, a HapkiDo instruction manual, which was the most significant project for the propagation of HapkiDo. The creation of this book consumed 2 years of effort and the personal financial support of Grandmaster Mung. Grandmaster Mung also conducted annual HapkiDo seminars promoting HapkiDo through the presentation and demonstration of new HapkiDo techniques, which were the product of research by various outstanding masters of HapkiDo and its schools. Since the first meeting, biannual General Assembly meetings have been held. In 1976 and 1978, the second and third biannual meetings were held, respectively, which nurtured closer ties and friendship between the HapkiDo masters. On June 28, 1981, the fourth general meeting was held in Chicago, Illinois. Subsequently, the fifth and sixth biannual meetings were held as a schedule. At the sixth biannual meeting, held on September 29, 1985, the association had firmly established itself as a recognized representative of practitioners of HapkiDo. On November 16, 1985, HapkiDo Association members rallied in San Diego, California, and unanimously voted to change the name of the association to the World HapkiDo Federation in an effort to unify all associations and other organizations practicing HapkiDo. At this time, the official organization of Unified HapkiDo members worldwide was inaugurated as the World HapkiDo Federation. About the author. Grandmaster Kwon Mung is a native Korean and 9th-degree black belt in HapkiDo. Kwon Mung is president of the World HapkiDo Federation. The author was very fond of martial arts from his childhood. He started martial arts when he was 8 years old and became a first-degree black belt in HapkiDo at the age of 12. During his high school days, he was truly a pioneer in organizing classes for fellow students. In college, he majored in commerce at Kwan University in Sool, Korea. During his younger years, he studied many styles of martial arts, including karate, judo, Kempo, charyok, tongsudo, and taekwondo. He also learned acupuncture, oriental calligraphy, and oriental India ink drawing. During his college days, he was also an active instructor of the Korea General Headquarters of HapkiDo. Upon graduation from college, he was appointed as the director of Northern Branch Dojang, Korea HapkiDo Association. Endeavoring to attain the highest degree of perfection in his art, the author retreated to Mount Tibet for several years to live a monastic experience and practice his art. After the Mount Tibet experience, he traveled to Southeast Asia to spread knowledge of his beloved art. Upon returning from his journeys, he found the Korea HapkiDo Kwan Association. The author first published a HapkiDo history, the textbook of HapkiDo, in Korean, which observers and experts alike agree was the turning point in the development of modern-day HapkiDo in Korea. His considerable contribution was recognized when he was appointed a permanent director of the Korea HapkiDo Association. The author found an institute for the furtherance of HapkiDo as a highly visible martial art. The institute provided specialized training to the director of each dojang, instructors, and advanced degree black belt holders universally. To honor and recognize this truly exceptional individual, he was promoted to senior instructor. At the request of government of the United States, the author was extended an invitation to visit the United States. He subsequently summoned all instructors worldwide to organize the World HapkiDo Federation. The call to this directive was heard in Latin America, Asia, Europe, and North America. As a direct result of this coming together, the author was inaugurated as the president of this world organization, which at present lay claim to overseas chapter in more than 30 countries throughout the world. The author's second published HapkiDo book, Korean HapkiDo, Ancient Art of Masters, in English, contained beginner to black belt techniques in over 300 pages. The author has taught over 320 seminars for HapkiDo knowledge, philosophy, and techniques all over the world. He has traveled in South America for HapkiDo seminars and established HapkiDo associations and schools under the World HapkiDo Federation banner. The author wrote the third HapkiDo book, HapkiDo Weapons, Volume 1, Knife Defense Techniques, Dan Gum Sir. The fourth book, HapkiDo Weapon, Volume 2, Cane Techniques, Chang Sur. And fifth book, HapkiDo Forms, Hapki Hyungse. Grandmaster Mung always works to develop HapkiDo and the World HapkiDo Federation as the best martial art and the best martial arts organization in the world. Tanjun breathing technique. For warm-up, E1 buff, muscle relaxing exercise is enough. However, to cultivate neki, inner power, the Tanjun exercise is necessary. Tanjun breathing technique is a scientific method unique to HapkiDo. Tanjun breathing exercise control breathing and concentrate the total physical power on one point, the Tanjun. Tanjun is an Oriental medical term indicating the portions of the abdomen about 1 1/2 inches below the navel. The region of Tanjun differs slightly according to the individual body structure. Tanjun is the foundation of human power, and therefore it has to be strengthened to produce superhuman power, which is used freely during HapkiDo performance. Tanjun breathing exercise collects power and enables the power to be used swiftly. The same breathing exercise enhances one's mental concentration and body balance. Tanjun breathing also makes the internal organs strong and resistant to internal disease. It enhances metabolism, blood circulation, health, and strength. Preservation of health, physical fitness, and youth cultivates mental discipline and a mature personality, and mastering the self-defense technique of HapkiDo are all based on Tanjun breathing exercises. This fundamental power is called ki in HapkiDo. Ki also includes the meaning of unshakable courage and dynamic force. Ki can be categorized into negi and wegi. Negi means internal power of the body, and wegi signifies external power. Negi is strengthened by Tanjun breathing exercises. Method of falling, nakbop. Single punching techniques. Shik, Kwon. Knuckle upper punch. Extend your hand and spread fingers apart. Draw your hand back and form a knuckle upper punch. Striking area is the second set of knuckles. Strike his neck with your knuckle upper punch. Step forward with your foot. Your leg should be bent, the other straight, and your shoulder in line. Extend your arm straight out. Edge fist punch. Wrist bend punch. Eagle's beak. Index finger knuckle. Thumb knuckle. Palm hand punch. Punch. Fingers tip strike. Front grabbing techniques. 전면수. Low sleeve 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand, thumb into his palm. Open the fingers of your hand and twist your hand over on top of his hand. Step in with your foot again. Turn your elbow and shoulder to the ground. Low sleeve 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot and raise your hand up at the same time. Grab the back of his hand with your other hand. Lower hand and turn it in. Bend his wrist and move your foot in a circle to your rear. At the same time, push down on his hand and raise your hand. Middle sleeve 1. Step in with the foot. Grab his hand with your hand and make sure that your thumb is inside his palm. Bend your arm in tight to your upper arm. Make sure that his hand is inside your arm. Put your arm in tight to your body and bend down. Step in with the foot again and turn the elbow past his arm. Middle sleeve 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with the foot and grab his elbow with your hand. Push to pressure point with your left thumb and raise his arm up. Step through with your other foot. Pivot on your foot and draw the other foot behind you. You should both be facing the same way. Step in with your foot again. Push down with your hand, keeping his hand trapped in your elbow. High sleeve 1. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand. Twist your shoulder to left. At the same time, bend his wrist. Side chop to his ribs with your hand. Step in with your foot and push down on his elbow with your hand at the same time. High sleeve 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot. Straighten your arm and pull it along his arm, keeping your thumb in his palm. Grab his elbow with your hand, thumb to pressure point. Step through with your foot under his arm. Pivot on the foot and draw the other foot behind you. You should both be facing the same way. Step in with your foot, push down on his hand with your hand to the floor. Behind the neck 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Center knuckle punch with a hand to his second rib. Step back with the foot at about 45-degree angle. At the same time, twist the head under and around his arm. And open your hand. Step in with your foot and push down on his elbow with your hand. Behind the neck 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot, finger locking with your both hands. Grab his elbow with your hands and raise his arm up. Tight his wrist with your neck and his elbow with your hands. Step back with your foot and pull down with the hands to the floor at the same time. Lapel grab. Milk sire. Straight grip 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Grab his wrist with your hand, pull his hand with your hand, and press in tight to your chest. Step in with your foot, twist the elbow high. Again, step up high with your foot, turn with your shoulder and elbow at the same time. Push down on his wrist and lower your shoulder, not your elbow. Straight grip 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Grab his wrist with your hand, Pull his hand with your hand. And step high with your foot at the same time. Bend your wrist and cross your arm on his elbow. Push down on his elbow with your arm. Twist, grip, 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand. Grab his elbow with your other hand. Your thumb to pressure point. Raise his elbow high. Step in with your foot and stay low. Pull the back of his hand into your chest. Straighten his elbow and throw him over your shoulder. Twist grip 2. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand. Open the hand and reach under his arm and trap his elbow, pull down. Grab his chin with your hand. Grab his head or hair with your hand. Step in with your foot and twist his head. Inverted grip 1. Step in with your foot. Grab his wrist with your hand. Grab his hand with the other hand. Step in with the foot and raise his arm up. Step through with the foot, pivot around and step with your foot and pull down. Inverted grip 2. Grab his hand with your hand. Step in with your foot in front of his foot. Step out with your foot. Tense your hand on his elbow. Push down on his elbow with your hand. Raise with your foot. Knee lift kick with your knee in his rib. Chest grab 1. Step in with your foot. The fingers of your hand should be inside the out edge of his hand. Trap his hand into your chest by covering it with both hands. Step in with your foot at 45-degree angle in his feet. Bend down with your body. Chest grab 2. Step in with your foot. The fingers of your hand should be inside the outer edge of his hand. Trap his hand into your chest by covering it with both of your hands. Step in with your foot at 45 degrees angle in his feet. Bend down with your body. Armpit grab 1. Step in with your foot. Twist the arm around and trap his hand next to your body. Raise your arm up so that his elbow may be straightened. Step back with your leg approximately 1/2 foot. Side kick to his side with your foot. Armpit grab 2. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand. Place the outer wrist bone against his inner wrist bone. Step back with the leg and push down and twist the hand in. Strike his neck with an inner knife hand strike. Push his head down with your hand and raise it up to your other hand. Step in with your leg and grab your hands together. Pull in and stand up. Belt grab, palm down 1. Natural stance. Step in with your foot and place your hands together under his arm. Twist your arms around counterclockwise and place your arm against his wrist. Step in with your foot and push down on his arm with your other arm. Palm down 2. Natural stance. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand and raise his hand up. Strike to the center of his backhand with a center knuckle punch. Back fist to his chin or temple, also with your hand. Palm up 1. Natural stance. Step in with your foot and kick your heel out. Grab his hand with your hand and pull his hand up high. Reach under his elbow with your hand and grab his collar. Twist down and step in with your foot. Palm up, 2. Natural stance. Step in with your foot and kick your heel out. Grab his hand with your hand and palm to his palm. Grab his wrist with your hand and thumb to the back of his arm. Step through with your foot. Twist his hand with your both hands. Push down and turn your body. Double kicking techniques. Poke, shik, choke, serve. Front center toe kick and side kick. Inside kick and side kick. Inside kick and outside kick. Low side kick and high side kick. Low curve kick and heel high hook kick. Heel down kick and roundhouse kick. Down hook kick and center toe kick. Center toe kick and back kick. Center toe kick and roundhouse kick. Cover kick and roundhouse kick. Defensive punching technique. Bang, Kwon, serve. It is thus self-evident that the hands play the leading role in simultaneous defense and offensive techniques, which requires powerful, efficient, and swift actions. Because of their power and flexibility, the hands technique plays an important role in HapkiDo. There are many sports and martial arts in both West and Orient where the hands are mainly used for offensive purposes. Since hand techniques are limited in variety of offensive and even more so in defensive techniques, they're not adequate for the self-protection. In HapkiDo, however, with a variety of effective hand technique, one can defend and attack anywhere and in any position by blocking, holding, paralyzing, or by throwing. All Bangwon Sur techniques are done with one person attacking and other defending. Bangwon Sur techniques are performed from fighting stance. The attacking person attacks from left fighting stance, stepping forward into right front stance while doing a full reverse punch with his right hand. The defending party defends from right fighting stance. Attacker steps forward performing full reverse punch to defender's face. Attacker is now in right front stance. Defending party performs his techniques. Punching technique. Derigisu. Punching 1. Defender shuffles forward, still remaining in front stance, blocking attacker's fist with an inside-outside sudo with your hand. At the same time, chopping the side of attacker's neck with your hand and outside-inside sudo chop. Punching 2. Fighting stance. Defender steps forward into low front stance. At the same time, performing a high overhead block with your hand against the attacker's punching arm. At the same time of high overhead block, deliver a low uppercut punch to solar plex area. Punching 3. Fighting stance. Lean back, moving 80% of your weight onto the back foot. Intercept opponent's striking fist with the backside of your hand, directing the fist just past your face. Step forward to the side of oncoming fist and perform a slicing chop to attacker's rib cage. Punching 4. Fighting stance. Lean back, moving 80% of your weight to your back foot. Intercept attacker's striking fist with backside of your hand, directing the fist past your face. Shuffle forward to the side at the same time, turning your body 90 degrees and grabbing attacker's striking arm with your hand just above the elbow and pulling him forward and down. At the same time, performing a pseudo chop with your hand knife to his neck at the base of the skull. Punching 5. Fighting stance. Move forward from fighting stance, turning your body to the side and blocking with the knife hand with your hand and grabbing attacker's punching arm with your hand. Block attacker's arm in its traveling direction. Next, with your hand and arm, perform an elbow strike to the solar plex and then a back fist to the face. Punching 6. Fighting stance. Move to the side of attacker's punching arm, turning the body to the right 45 degree and coming into horse right stance, and at the same time blocking attacker's arm with a straight knife edge block, just above his elbow block with a hand. Pivot the body around to the 45 degree to the side, making an elbow strike. Hit the side of attacker's second rib cage with your elbow. Then turn the body again 90 degree, bringing the elbow around and striking the face on the rib cage. Punching 7. Fighting stance. Move forward from fighting stance, turning your body to the side and with a knife hand block with your hand, and grabbing attacker's punching arm with your hand in its traveling direction. Next, perform inside to outside knife hand chop to attacker's neck or face with your hand. Turn body around 90 degrees to the side and strike attackers with your elbow in the face or chest. Punching 8. Fighting stance. Step forward from fighting stance with your foot into a front stance so that your foot is on the inside of the attacker. At the same time, move your arm up, blocking and sliding of your attacker's arm. So your arm is vertical and up high behind your opponent's head. At this point, bring your hand down, performing an inner knife hand. Strike to the base of skull or back neck. At the same time, use your hand to deliver a low uppercut to the solar plex. Punching 9. Fighting stance. Step forward slightly to the side into front stand. At the same time, performing cross-body palm heel strike to attacker's arm just above elbow joint. At the same time, deliver a center knuckle punch to opponent's rib cage with your hand. Now perform an inside to outside knife hand chop to opponent's side, face, or neck with your hand. Now spin around 90 degrees, bringing your elbow around and striking to the rib cage or head with your elbow. Punching 10. Fighting stance. Perform an X block to attacker's striking hand. Your hand should be crossed over when executing a block. Your hand grabs the punching hand and pulls opponent forward, while you execute a back fist strike to your attacker's face. After performing a back fist strike, draw your hand back, step forward with your hand, and perform a tiger mouth strike with your hand to your opponent's throat. Joint locking technique. Gokki-su. Joint locking 1. Fighting stance. Remain in fighting stance, intercept attacker's punch by leaning back slightly and parrying attacker's punching arm with your hand. Grab attacker's punching arm at the wrist with your hand. Pull to your chest while moving forward into front stance. At the same time, move into front stance. Push downward with your hand on attacker's arm just above elbow joint, thus forcing him to the ground. When pushing the hand, fingers should be open, extended, and apart. You push with the area between your wrist bone and hand blade. Joint locking 2. Fighting stance. Parry attacker's hand as in technique number 1. Only this time, bring it around in a circle, so you can grab it with your hand. Grab at opponent's wrist, pull to front of your waist, and step forward into front stance. This time, push in the same manner as technique 1, except using your hand pushing just behind elbow joint and slightly towards you. Joint locking 3. Fighting stance. Parry attacker's striking arm with your hand. Parry from inside to outside, bringing opponent's arm down and around in a circular motion, grabbing it at the wrist and moving it crossways to the side as you take a half step forward with a foot. Now grab opponent's arm with your hand over his hand blade, and your other hand over his thumb. Turn your body 45 degrees. Twist the attacker's joint and bring him down. Joint locking 4. Fighting stance. Step forward to the side of your attacker's punching arm, at the same time turning your body to face right, so you will be in horse right stance, and perform a double hand knife edge block to attacker's arm. After blocking, grab arm at wrist with your hand and over elbow joint with fingers. Bend arm back, twisting it around, at the same time turning the body 180 degrees to the side, taking attackers down. Joint locking 5, fighting stance. Performing a double hand inside to outside block to striking arm. After blocking, grab attacker's arm at the wrist with your hand and at the knife blade with your hand. Step forward with your foot to the side of opponent's punching. Stepping under and through with your foot. And turning your body 180 degrees to the side. Now step forward with your foot, throwing your attacker to the ground. Joint locking 6, fighting stance. Step forward with your foot, slightly to the side of attacking arm. Performing an inside to outside double hand block to attacker's arm. Grab arm at the wrist with both hands, bring it down. And across to your side while you step forward and throw with your foot. Now turn your body 180 degrees to the side, bringing attacker's arm. Around and over, forcing him to the ground. Joint locking 7, fighting stance. Step forward with your foot 45 degrees to the left. Performing a double hand block to the inside of your opponent's striking arm. Grab striking arm with your hand at the wrist. At the same time, reaching under and placing fingers over at the elbow joint. Step forward and throw with your foot. At the same time, pull your hand towards you and bend the attacker's arm at the elbow by pushing back and to the side with your hand, thus taking attacker to the ground. Joint locking 8, fighting stance. Step forward with your foot 45 degrees to the side, performing a double hand block to the inside of your opponent's striking arm. Grab striking arm with your hand at the wrist. This time, place outside edge of thumb in opponent's joint, performing movements. Step backward and throw with your foot. So both hands are grabbing attacker's wrist when taking down. Joint locking 9, fighting stance. Perform a double cross block to attacker's striking arm, around and down to your waist level. Step forward to the side, bringing attacker's arm, pulling and locking it with your hand, while pushing down with the hand and forearm at elbow, thus bringing attacker down. Joint locking 10, fighting stance. Step forward with the foot, performing a high overhead block to attacker's punching arm. Then step through with your foot. At the same time, executing a ridge hand strike to attacker's inside elbow joint, which will cause arm to bend back. When arm bends, lock it and take opponent down. Kicking techniques. Jujitsu. Kicking 1. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot from fighting stance. At the same time performing a high block and grab with your hand. Turning your body and executing a side kick to attacker's rib cage or side body. Kicking 2. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot from fighting stance. At the same time performing a high block and grab his wrist with your hand. Except this time, perform a roundhouse kick to attacker's face or heart. Kicking 3. Fighting stance. Step forward from fighting stance. With your foot moving forward at the same time. Do a high block with your hand and a low block with your other hand. High and low blocks are performed together. At the same time blocks are performed, a low scoop kick with your leg to your attacker's chin. Kicking 4. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot. At the same time performing an outside to inside block with your hand. And performing a center toe kick to attacker's throat or groin.
Kicking technique 5. Fighting stance. Step forward and slightly to your side from fighting stance. At the same time performing a high block with the hand. Grab opponent's wrist and pull down. Turning your body 45 degrees to the side and executing a heel high hook kick to attacker's head or side body. Kicking technique 6. Fighting stance. Step forward from fighting stance. With foot perform outside to inside, block with your hand. And making a heel down hook kick to attacker's face, thigh, side, or shoulder.
Kicking 7. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot, performing an inside kick to opponent's attacking arm. Do not allow your foot to touch the ground. Instead, execute a side kick to attacker's face, solar plex, or front of body. Kicking 8. Fighting stance. Step 4, as in technique 1 or 2. Perform a roundhouse kick with your foot to attacker's face. Allow your foot to swing down and around, to the side without touching the ground, executing a heel-high hook kick to attacker's head. Kicking 9. Fighting stance. Step 4 and little to the side with the foot. With your foot to the opponent's attacking arm, performing an outside kick. Do not allow your foot to touch the ground. Instead, perform a roundhouse kick to attacker's face. Kicking 10. Fighting stance. Step in forward with your foot, grabbing opponent's attacking arm with both hands. With your hands grabbing near wrist, the other hand grabbing near shoulder. Pull attacker forward, performing a knee lift kick to the groin, stomach, or chest area. Throwing techniques. Jujitsu. Throwing 1. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot. At the same time, perform a double hand block to attacker's punching arm. Grab arm at wrist with your hand and at bicep with your other hand. Turn the body to the left 90 degrees, throwing opponent over and to the ground. Throwing 2. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot to the outside and side of attacker's arm at the same time, performing a double hand block. Grab arm at wrist with your hand and at bicep with your other hand. Throwing bar attacker's arm and throw him to the ground. Throwing 3. Fighting stance. Step to the side of your foot, performing an inside to outside block with your hand. After block, grab arm at wrist with your hand. Swing the leg forward and back, hitting attacker's right leg. At the same time, make a palm heel strike to attacker's chin, neck, or shoulder, thus bringing him down. Throwing 4. Fighting stance. Step to your half foot. Perform an inside to outside block with your hand. And grab opponent's punching arm with your hand, blocking at his wrist. Bringing his arm down, around while turning your body 45 degrees to the side. And transferring attacker's hand from one hand to another. Your hand is holding opponent's wrist and bearing his arm across your shoulder. While your hand holds attacker's arm at its bicep area, pull attacker over your shoulder and drop him to the ground. Throwing 5. Fighting stance. Perform an inside to outside block with your hand. Step to the half with your foot at the same time and grab opponent's punching arm with your hand blocking at his wrist. Bring his arm down and around while turning your body 45 degrees. And transferring attacker's hand from one hand to another, bring your foot across and back sweeping attacker's leg out from under him, performing a sweeping hip and waist throw. When doing this throw, your arm bar opponent's arm across your chest while you reach around his waist to help toss him over. Throwing 6. Fighting stance. Perform an inside to outside block with your hand. Step to the side 1 foot with your foot and grab opponent's punching arm with your hand, blocking at his wrist. Bring his arm down and across while turning your body 45 degrees and transferring attacker's hands from yours, one hand to another, except when turning 45 degrees to the side. Bend low and reach between opponent's leg with your hand. While bending his punching arm over, pull attacker so as to throw him over your upper back and to the ground. Throwing 7. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot, making a high block with your hand, grabbing attacker's wrist. Bring his arm down over your shoulder and around while turning your body 45 degrees. So your foot and arm reach between attacker's leg and arm bars. While bringing his arm over your shoulder, pull attacker so as to throw him over your upper body and to the ground. Throwing 8. Fighting stance. Step forward with your foot, performing a high block with your hand. Shift body weight back to about 80% on your rear foot, pushing opponent's arm back and downwards, while bending low and scooping his leg from under, thus bringing opponents to the ground. Throwing 9. Fighting stance. Step forward and slightly to the side. With your foot, turning your body slightly to the side and performing an inside to outside block with your hand. Grab attacker's arm at wrist with your hand and joint lock his elbow with your other hand. Turn your body 90 degrees to the side, opponent's arm over your inside arm, locking and throwing him to the ground. Fighting stance. Step and turn body 45 degrees to the side, performing a double hand block to attacker's punching arm. Grab opponent's arm at forearm with your hand or at his wrist at a 5-step with your hand. Turn your body 90 degrees to the side, pull, bringing attacker over and around, dropping him to the ground. Jigi Hyungse. This is the second form in HapkiDo. It is one step higher in difficulty from Cheongi Hyungse. The word Ji means earth, and the word Ki means energy or power. In this form, the title literally means to pull power from earth into your body through Danjan breathing. Oriental philosophy teaches that the human body's power derived from heaven and earth. Although the universe is large and the body is small, the body constitutes a universe unto itself. Earth into your own universe through breathing makes a body very strong. This form progresses from single punch and kick to double punches and kicks. The techniques are also more advanced than the Pangwansu. Since the techniques are more advanced, this form is more difficult to learn. It will take more practice to learn this form than it did to learn Cheongi Hyungse. The direction of movement is from side to side on a straight line. Jigi Hyungse starting position. Both hands should be brought together in front of you with the thumbs and index fingers touching. Fingers down and palms towards your body. The gap between the index fingers and the thumb should be look-alike in a circle. Inhale and raise your hands straight up. When they get to the level of your face, rotate them so that the palms are facing away from your body. Continue raising your hands upward and approximately 45 degrees outward. Focus your gaze through the circle formed by your hands. Exhale, but keep your hands in this extended position. Jigi Hyungse Danjan breathing. The stance in this second breathing exercise is the same as the first, with both hands open and on the side of your body. While inhaling, raise the hand up along your body to shoulder high. When your lungs are filled with air, slowly force the air down into your abdomen. Simultaneously, slowly push both hands down towards the ground. Your ki should flow down through your fingertips. When starting, you should look straight ahead. When your hands are at shoulder high, your gaze should be approximately 15 degrees above the horizon and focus on one point. Continue extending your hands down until your arms are straight. Exhale and return your hands to your side. This cycle can be completed several times.